ready. Right, we are live. All right, calling the zoning administrator meeting of February 9th, 2023 to order. I'm Julia Krog. I am the Planning and Building Services Director and zoning administrator for today's hearing. It is 1:30 p.m. and staff, may I have a determination of legal notice?
All items on the agenda have been properly noticed.
Thank you very much. All right, we're going to go straight into our regular calendar, and the first item on the agenda is road name 2022-0002 for the Dharma Real Buddhist Association, and our staff planner Lisa Foster is here. May I have your staff presentation, please?
The Dharma Realm Buddhist Association has requested an adoption of a network of new roads for future development. The association is also known as the City of 10,000 Buddhas. The road name request includes a number of roads, and all the responses received from emergency services agencies were in support of the adoption. However, we did have one response that recommended denial due to the proposed roads not currently servicing any dwellings and or business establishments. And our section 18.16 was quoted for that. And when I went back through our code, it does not, it mentions that the county may require a name for every access that serves at least 4 dwellings. So we recommend approval.
Okay, thank you very much. So next I'm going to look, do we have a representative of the application available on the line? And you can raise your hand if you'd like to speak. There we go. All right, we've brought over Amy. Please unmute yourself when you're ready and state your name for the record.
Yes, hi. Good afternoon. This is Amy Changchen, Dharma Realm Buddhist Association, City of 10,000 Buddhas. I'm the planning coordinator here. We're just here to answer any questions. We don't have any comments otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if there are any questions.
I do not have any questions for you at this time. Thank you for being here today. It seems like the request is really pretty straightforward here. So stay on the line though, because we're going to first see if we have any public comments here. So I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing, and if we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item, please use the raised hand feature. Okay, I am not seeing any hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the zoning administrator. So thank you, staff. I reviewed the staff memorandum and the resolution, and I do have one change to the resolution. That's just correcting the zoning administrator name on the last page. Otherwise, everything looks straightforward here, and so I will be approving this project subject to the findings contained within the resolution as amended. Thank you. All right, thank you, Amy. So with that, the road names are approved. There is an appeal period associated with these, and after that time, it'll be made effective. All right, going on to our next item on the agenda. This is item 3B, road name 2022-0003, applicant County of Mendocino, and our staff planner is Lisa Foster. May I have your presentation, please?
Wild Oaks Lane is an unnamed private road serving approximately 12 parcels in the McNabb Ranch subdivision. This road name request was submitted by the Hopland Fire Protection District as a recommendation of a member of the Firewise community due to the current use of multiple names. All addresses are currently using either Busmagall Ranch Road, Faylis Creek Drive, or Young Creek Drive. All responses received from emergency services agencies were in support of the adoption of this name.
Okay. Thank you very much. Do we have any Members, well, I guess this is from us, so I guess, do we have any other comments from County of Mendocino staff in the room here? No, we've seen none. I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? And you can indicate your desire to speak by using the raised hand feature. I see no hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the zoning administrator. Once again, this seems very straightforward. I have the same edit on the resolution as I did on the last one, just updating the zoning administrator name. And with that, I approve the road name. So thank you. Subject to the same appeal period, which is 10 days. I see a question asked in our chat here. And so the appeal period is 10 days from today. Okay, going on to our next case. This is case 3C, road name 2022-0004, applicant agent also County of Mendocino, and staff planner Russ Ford. May I have your presentation, please?
Good afternoon, planning staff, Russ Ford. So on October 3rd, 2022, the Planning and Building Department received outreach from CAL FIRE concerning a duplicative road name, Seaview Drive, in the Westview area. Seaview Drive is currently the name of a private road about 2.5 miles north of Westport, serving approximately 17 parcels, as well as a County Road 428C, within the village of Westport, serving approximately 10 parcels. Per CAL FIRE's outreach, the situation has resulted in significant delays for emergency services when responding to calls on Seaview Drive. So staff is recommending the private Seaview Drive be renamed to Lincoln Ridge Road to reflect its location along the top of Lincoln Ridge as designated on the USGS topo maps. Project referrals and requests for comment were sent out on October 5th. Approval was recommended by both CAL FIRE and the Sheriff's Office, among others. Just as an update to this memo, since that initial referral has gone out, we've received several comments from property owners that object to the name. The primary concerns cited are the costs associated with changing mailing addresses and updating information. The project is consistent with the applicable goals and policies of the general plan, the Mendocino County Addressing Ordinance, and has been determined to be categorically exempt from CEQA under Class 1G. Therefore, staff recommends the zoning administrator approve the name Lincoln Ridge Road in place of the existing Seaview Drive and direct staff to assign addresses accordingly.
Okay, thank you. And so, sorry, just to clarify, this was the result of outreach from CAL FIRE, correct?
Correct. CAL
Yeah.
FIRE reached out to this department and the county's IT department on October 3rd.
And having concern over the Seaview Drive link.
Correct. I guess it says they'd been in contact with the fire chief out there. There was a call where the response was delayed by 45 minutes because there were two Seaview Drives. And they said that there was a similar situation in 2017 where the two roads got mixed up and the result was the death of a patient.
Well, that seems like a pretty extreme case here. So, okay, thank you for your presentation. Do we have any member, well, let me go ahead and open the public hearing. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak on this item? You can do so by please using the raise hand feature. And I am not seeing any hands raised, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the zoning administrator. So thank you for your staff memo. And I think based upon the concerns expressed by the fire agencies and the both CAL FIRE and the Westport Fire, in the interest of public safety, it is best to rename the road to the Lincoln Ridge Road. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this road naming petition.
And then I'll also just have to change that one.
Yes, and just changing the name of the zoning administrator and subject to the findings contained within the resolution.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, and our next item, item 3D, this is road name 2022-0005. Again, applicant agent County of Mendocino and staff planner Russ Ford. May I have your presentation, please?
Certainly, Russ Ford planning staff. So this one is related to the Lincoln Ridge Road project. when staff did a site view out there, there is a frontage road that runs between Lincoln Ridge Road on the north end and North Highway 1 on the south end. There's approximately 6 houses, I believe, out there. Some of them were addressed to Highway 1, some of them were addressed to formerly Seaview Drive. So staff thought it would be worthwhile to bring this to the zoning administrator's attention for consideration. Project referrals and requests for comment were sent out on October 6th. Approval of the project was recommended by CAL FIRE and the Sheriff's Office, but several property owners objected to the potential name change. Primary concern cited was the inconvenience of needing to update address signs, documents, and information, with additional comments regarding the name Westport Way being potentially confusing due to the road's location several miles north of the village of Westport. Several owners requested the department change the few inconsistent address numbers to all match Highway 1 instead of adopting a name, and the name North Shoreline Drive was also suggested in place of Westport Way. So, in general, staff believes that adopting an individual name for a road increases its uniqueness and makes it easier to find. In this particular situation, because there are so few parcels that are affected by it, just simply readdressing the road is probably a suitable situation if that's the way that you wanted to go. Also, Shoreline Drive is an acceptable name, removing the north because we don't typically use the north-south division unless it crosses a meridian. So Shoreline Drive would be an acceptable name, Westport Way would be an acceptable name, or if you wanted to not do either and just direct staff to readdress the existing road to North Highway 1 to make the addresses consistent, that's also an option.
Okay, thank you very much for the options as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing here, and I see we do have an attendee, and we're going to go ahead and bring over Mr. Allison. John Allison, we have brought you over into the meeting. Please use the unmute button and state your name for the record and provide your comment.
Thank you very much. My name is John Allison, address 39701 North Highway 1 in Westport. On January 30th, my wife and I submitted our opposition to the proposed name change for the frontage road which serves our home. And I trust that you've had an opportunity to receive those materials, had an opportunity to review them, as well as the supporting materials from our neighbor, Jay Bavard. I'd like to emphasize a few points as to why the frontage road should be known as North Highway 1 throughout its entire length. Incidentally, I agree with the decision with respect to Howard Ridge Road. I'm a member of the Volunteer Fire Department, and I was involved in both of those calls. We got sent out to the Seaview Drive, which is 3 miles away, instead of the Seaview Drive in town, when emergency was actually happening in town. That's not the situation here with respect to our frontage road. All of the parcels involved in this case abut North Highway 1. There's 7 parcels that have been developed. 4 of the 7, a majority, have been using a North Highway 1 address for over 20 years. 39247, 39401, 39601, and 39701 North Highway 1. Those addresses readily come up on Google Maps. They follow the sequence of addresses for other properties abutting North Highway 1 to the north and to the south, making them easy to find for emergency response personnel. As an active duty member of the Westport Volunteer Fire Department for the past 8 years, we've been dispatched and responded to several 911 emergency calls to the home at 39401 North Highway 1 without any dispatch confusion or delay. I have personally seen CAL FIRE engine, the Fort Bragg Hospital ambulance, and a Reach Air Ambulance helicopter respond to that address without any problem. The frontage road involved in this case was created when a former sheep ranch was subdivided into 20-acre parcels, residential parcels, in the early 1970s. At that time, the access to DeHaven Valley Farm at 39247 North Highway 1 was by a driveway off the highway at mile marker 79.3. That's now, it was a B&B, now it's a private residence. The access to Howard Creek Ranch Inn at 40501 North Highway 1 was by a driveway off the highway at mile marker 80.49. The frontage road involved in this case simply runs parallel to North Highway 1 between those 2 driveways. Creating the frontage road for access to the parcels involved in this case was far better from a safety standpoint than adding multiple driveways off North Highway 1, one for each parcel, where the speed limit is 55 miles an hour. So in conclusion, I would ask the zoning administrator to please keep the name of the frontage road involved in this case known as North Highway 1 throughout its length. The address of the Neeblis property should be changed from 25071 Seaview Drive to 39801 North Highway 1. The address of the Bavard property at 39901 Seascape Drive should be changed to 39901 North Highway 1. The address of the Coy property at 25051 Seaview Drive should be changed to 40001 North Highway 1. That would be in sequence. And also in sequence with the Howard Creek Ranch Inn a little bit further to the north. Those changes will bring those three properties into alignment with the address sequence for properties abutting North Highway 1 in the greater Westport area, making those three properties easier for emergency response personnel to find. Again, I'd just like to emphasize that the majority of the properties on the frontage road, the four of them, that have had a North Highway 1 address for more than 20 years, there's never been a problem finding those for emergencies. Adopting a name for the frontage road other than North Highway 1 is likely to create confusion, particularly at the northern entrance off the highway at mile marker 80.49. That entrance also provides access to Howard Creek Ranch Inn, a well-established business at 40501 North Highway 1 by exiting the highway and driving ahead and then turning left. Also access to Lincoln Ridge Road, which is accessed by driving further ahead and following the road up the hill and bearing to the right to go onto the ridge, as well as access to the north end of the frontage road involved in this case, which is accessed by driving ahead and turning right just before reaching the left turn for access to Howard Creek Ranch Inn. And so to minimize confusion, I suggest that the best solution is to name the frontage road throughout its length as North Highway 1. That's the majority of the property owners have been doing for over 20 years, and then make a couple of minor adjustments to the three properties that have been using different addresses. Thank you very much. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Allison. I appreciate your comments and your personal experience with being part of the Westport Fire Department too, and your response to residences along this frontage road. So thank you for your comments today. And I will note for the record that I did receive your letter and I did have the chance to review that before today's meeting. So thank you for getting that in advance so I had adequate time to review it. So I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back to the zoning administrator. And I think based upon my review of the information in the packet as well as the options presented by staff, I think the cleanest approach here is going to be to renumber sequentially and maintain the North Highway 1. So it sounds like this will just affect a few number of properties along that roadway. Mm-hmm. So that would result in my denial of the road naming petition and just direction to staff to go ahead and complete that address changes.
Got it. So I've prepared a resolution for denial.
Thank you.
Do we need to get a printed copy of that?
I can print it when I get back.
Okay. Do you need to sign anything right now? How do you want to do this?
I don't think at this time, let's see, do we have it available that we could pull it up on the screen just to look at it?
It's in the shared drive. I'm not connected to this. You have it.
Or alternatively, if you can read it into the record, that would be an acceptable alternative as well.
I can do that too.
Okay.
Okay, resolution of the zoning administrator, County of Mendocino, State of California, denying a private road name request in the Westport area. Whereas the applicant, the County of Mendocino, filed a request to adopt the name Westport Way for an existing private road located 2.6 miles north of Westport on the east side of State Route 1. Opposite Westport Union Landing State Beach, general plan classification remote residential, zoning remote residential, supervisorial District 4, the project. And whereas Westport Way serves approximately 10 parcels, most of which have consistent address numbers assigned using North Highway 1. The 3 inconsistent parcels can be corrected administratively using the authority granted the department under Chapter 1816 of the Mendocino County Code. And whereas, in accordance with applicable provisions of the law, the zoning administrator held a public hearing on, that says January 12th, we'll change that to February 9th, 2023, at which time the zoning administrator heard and received all relevant testimony and evidence presented orally or in writing regarding the project. All interested persons were given an opportunity to hear and be heard regarding the project. And whereas the zoning administrator has had an opportunity to review this resolution and finds that it accurately sets forth the intentions of the zoning administrator regarding the project. Now therefore be it resolved, the zoning administrator makes the following findings. 1. Mendocino County Code consistency. The project is consistent with the county's addressing ordinance, MCC Section 1816, with regard to private road names. However, Section 1816.050 already provides authority to the Planning and Building Services Director, or their designee to enforce, operate, and maintain the county's addressing system. The address issues present along Westport Way can be adequately corrected using the existing authority within said section, and therefore adoption of a separate road name is unnecessary. Be it further resolved that the zoning administrator hereby denies the requested private road name as identified and described in Exhibit A, attached here too. Be it further resolved the zoning administrator designates the secretary as the custodian of the document, and so forth and so on.
Thank you for reading that. I'm sorry you had to read the whole thing into the record. I appreciate it. So I will adopt the resolution for denial as read by staff. And please note that this is subject to a 10-day appeal period as well. But so with that, the addresses of the majority of the properties will remain as they currently are, as North Highway 1, with the few inconsistencies being corrected. Thank you. Thank you for your participation today, Mr. Allison, and all the best of luck to you.
Thank you.
So with that, that concludes our public hearing items. Let me find my agenda. Are there any matters from staff today?
None for me.
None? Okay. Are there any matters from the public? The zoning administrator welcomes participation in meetings. This item is limited to matters under the jurisdiction of the zoning administrator that are not on the posted agenda and items that have not already been considered by the zoning administrator. No action will be taken. Are there any members of the public wishing to address the zoning administrator? Seeing no hands being raised, then I am going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 1:53 p.m. Excuse me. Thank you all for participating today.